Look at you, hacker. A pathetic creature of meat and bone, panting and sweating as you run through my corridors. How can you challenge a perfect, immortal machine?
So I'm pretty sure as a human species, we are in the around stage of AI technology. And pretty soon, we're gonna find out. But it's okay. It's not like we've been warning about this for the last 70 years in pop culture and philosophy. Or if you check any news article out today, it seems like everybody's on board and thinks, hey, this is gonna be A-okay. Oh my god, there's f***ing demons in there. Well, back in 1994, Looking Glass Technologies decided to whip out their magnifying glass and take a closer look at what an evil AI villain should be. And I could tell you they created one of the best villains in all of gaming history, with SHODAN. Now let's be realistic. The game didn't sell great back in 1994, and if my YouTube statistics are anything to go by, most of you were too young to play it or not even born yet. But that's okay, because guess what? They made a remake. So let's find out if the 2023 System Shock is actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. And hey, if you could do me a favor and like this video and subscribe to the channel, it makes the rogue AI with a god complex that's always monitoring my actions happy and allows me to continue to make this content. So I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way first because it's something that you're going to see in this video, which is that there are a lot of old school mechanics still in this game. They kept it very true to form with the remake, and that's actually a good thing. Because it allows people to actually kind of deal with the stress of these action-adventure horror games from the early 90s, where the management and the actual clunkiness of the mechanics was kind of critical to help build tension in the levels. One example of this kind of clunkiness is the recycling mechanic, which you actually have to use to buy ammo or health packs or boosts or things like that. And that management aspect adds tension. The lack of inventory space adds tension. It's a good system, but it is old. And so a lot of new gamers who are probably going to be getting into this, who have no experience with this kind of system, are not going to be too happy. Now, if you have played any other games or remakes where you have to deal with a very limited inventory management, like, Resident Evil or something like that, you'll be okay with this. And that's just an example of some of the clunkiness they brought over from the original series, which, honestly, I'm okay with. Speaking of the original series, the visuals do a very good job of trying to emulate what it is in my mind to go back and play the original System Shock or System Shock 2. It doesn't do a one-for-one or polygon-for-polygon remake. It does try to recreate the feeling of the original game, and does it quite well. It still has some gritty, low-texture goodness to it, but the lighting is good, the animations are good, and it just really does a good job of bringing you into the world of System Shock. One of the downsides, though, is that, yeah, the textures can get a little bit repetitive. It fits with the universe and the design of where you are, but yeah, it does kind of stand in stark contrast to a lot of more modern games that are coming out nowadays. So we've talked about the changes that have occurred for the remake, but what about the actual game? Is it still good? Is the story still good? Is it still enjoyable? And yes! Yeah, it was a good game back then. It was very well received back in 1994. Its sequel, System Shock 2, was very well received. The story itself, yeah, it drips of 90s kind of nostalgia, but it's good. It's a good story. And what I tried to bring up earlier is so true. SHODAN, as a villain, is just so good. If anything, you should play this game, or even the enhanced edition that came out a few years ago, just to experience SHODAN's evilness. And no, this is not Shodan.io, you script kiddies, I'm sorry, but they definitely based it off of this character, so if you've ever used it for anything, clearly not for vulnerability research, then you could at least put some respect on the name. And speaking of hacking, that's actually who you play in the game System Shock. You are a hacker. In fact, I don't really want to spoil much, but you do have a big impact on the start of the story as well as, well, the rest of the story, obviously, because you're the main character. And the character you play does impact the story of System Shock 2 as well. So yeah, you're a hacker, and not a great one because you get caught pretty early. So what do I think is my main takeaway on this? Well, it's worth playing. It is worth the experience. It's a great game. It really is. And if you did not experience it, and as we've already discussed, you probably didn't, I think it's worth a buy. I mean, the price right now is not bad. If you catch it on sale, great, but even right now, it's not a hard game to recommend because it's good. If you enjoyed the original Deus Ex, or Bioshock series, or even the most recent Prey game, those are all spiritual successors to the original System Shock, and this remake does a glorious job of bringing that old game to a modern audience. So thank you for watching. Please like the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It does help out the channel, and I'll do my best to make sure SHODAN doesn't hit you with a giant mining laser.
The machine spirit is corrupted.
Purge the heretic!